Welcome to our Unit 8 Assignment 4 lesson video lesson. As you can see, it's about quadratic expressions. Quadratic comes from Latin. It's the root quad meaning square. And so our terms are going to have an n squared or x squared or y squared in there. So that's why these are called quadratic expressions, because the variable is going to have a squared part to it. It's going to be raised to the second power. So that's why they're called quadratic expression. It comes from Latin, and it just means that your variable, your biggest power, is going to be squared. All right, so quadratic expression, and we are told we need to factor these. So it's going to end up looking like that. All right, since I've got n squared, and I'm going to have an n there and an n there. In the olden days, we just were told to guess and check. It was a delightful time in existence, and it was horrible and we hated it. To just guess and check, try it, check it, see if it works, and when you finally get one that works, good job, go on to the next problem. We have some strategies now to help you so you don't have to just guess and check your way through these. So we've practiced making these X's or diamonds. 15, the product goes up here. 15 is going to go up there. 8 from our problem is going to go down there. Now we're looking for the two terms that when I add them together I get 8, or when I multiply them my product is 15. So we might write out the factors of 15 if you want to. That's 1 times 15, 3 times 5. I think that's all we got. So I'm looking which factor pair going to give me a 15 when multiplied and an 8 when I add them. Let's see, if I add these, that gives me 16. If I add these, it gives me 8. So that is the factor pair we want. We know that's going to be a 3, and that's going to be a 5. What that means is over here, we've got a +3 and a +5. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go ahead and check. I always recommend questioning authority. So check and see if it's right. Let's go ahead and to check to see if this answer is correct, you can just go ahead and do the problem where you multiply your binomials like we've learned in previous units. So I'm just going to multiply these two binomials together to see if I am getting back to this original trinomial that we had. So I'd go n times n is n squared, n times 5 is 5n, 3 times n is 3n, 3 times 5, it's going to give me 15. Okay, we know these two are like terms. They have the same variable to the same power. So we can go ahead and combine those and we get n squared plus 8n plus 15. So when I checked my work, it got me back to that original trinomial, that quadratic expression that we had. So that lets me know that, yep, I found my factors correctly. If you write the wrong numbers in here when you multiply, you aren't going to get back to this. Now I should tell you as a teacher, you just need to check every single problem. Let's face it, I never did it, so I'm not really expecting that you check your problems every single time. But if you really want to know if you're getting the right answer, multiply it back to see if you get back to what your original problem was, okay? All right, so that is what we're doing, an example of how to do it and how to check your work. Let me go ahead and do another problem or two for you, just because. So let's take a look at problem 4 on the worksheet. Okay, problem 4 on the worksheet is, sorry about that, x squared plus 15x plus 56. I chose to do this one for you just because it's a little bit harder if you can't remember your multiplication tables. So I go ahead and make my x. Let's see, 56 is a product, it goes up there. 15 is the sum, it goes down there. And I've got to figure out what goes in these blank spaces. So what terms, when I multiply them, I'm getting 56, but if I add them, I'm going to get 15. So if I can't think of what those are, I'm going to go ahead and just write down all my factors of 56. So that's 1 times 56, 2 times 28, 4 times 14, and 7 times 8. It's okay if you can't remember all those times table things. You can use your calculator to help you find them. All right, so those are all the factors of 56 that I can think of right now. Now I got to find the ones that when I add them together, it gives me 15. That's going to give me 57. That's not right. That would be 30, be 18. All right, so this is the pair that's going to work. Okay, so I know that's a 7 and that's an 8. So that means when I write down my binomials, I've got x plus 7 and x plus 8. Also, it is totally okay when you're checking your answers, if your answer looks like, if those binomials are just switched, if you've got x plus 8 times x plus 7, that means the same thing, all right? So that's gonna work out the same way. So that was problem 4 on your worksheet. Let me see if there's another one I wanna do for you. Let's do number 7, just because. All right, so problem 7 on the worksheet is m squared minus 7m minus 8. All right. So you got to pay attention to what these negative and positive signs are. Just make sure you're including those as you're doing your work. So I know when I make my x to help me find my terms, they're going to multiply together to make 8. They're going to add together to make 7. So if I think about what things multiply together, 8, but add together to 7. If I'm multiplying and getting a negative, I know one number is going to be positive and one number is going to be negative. This sign down here, this number, is always going to match my bigger factor. So let's see, if I put a 1 and negative 8 in there, check to see if that works. Negative 8 times 1 gives me a negative 8. Negative 8 plus 1 gives me a negative 7. So those are going to work. So I've got m plus 1 and m minus 8. All right. So that's how those work. So yeah, make sure you're paying attention to your negative signs, that it works just like you did with the diamond puzzles and with, or the X puzzles, whatever you call them, from last week's assignment. All right, so that's how you find those factors. And again, you can multiply them to check, see if you want to. If you have any other questions on the assignment, please feel free to email or send a text, or pop in onto one of those Google Meet Hangout open hours, and you can ask your questions there also. All right, good luck on the assignment and have a great day.